Okay, I'm back with Tammy Cody. She and I had a discussion yesterday on the same topic, and she's joining me by telephone through the computer. Welcome, Tammy Cody.
Hello.
You have given your permission to be recorded, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm just gonna kind of give you free rein to discuss the situation you encountered when you were trying to obtain your inheritance. Can you just give us a general overview of what took place?
Yes. My father died in a car accident, and shortly thereafter, we were contacted by telephone by the attorney stating that she wanted to go over the will with us. At that point, we learned that my younger sister was named the executrix of the estate. And that's when we began to run into problems because she received a large portion of the estate, and she was not highly motivated to liquidate the estate. And we began having problems mainly because we didn't know how to navigate through the system, what the words meant, what even probating a will entailed. So we were just at a loss for what to do, and the court system really wasn't eager to help.
What is it that you mean when you say you weren't able to navigate through the system? What does that mean? Can you elaborate?
Well, when you read the will, it's very difficult to figure out what each word means, the legal terms that they use. And so therefore we didn't really know who was to get what, if there were houses involved, were those part of the estate, or were they to be separate? And there was just terminology that just wasn't clear. And if you did try to clarify it through the courts, they were just not interested in helping.
I see. So now, was there any kind of a time limit set for the distribution of your inheritance?
No, there were no time limits.
Did you find that surprising?
Yes, I did. I did, because I felt like there should be, especially, because properties deteriorate and depreciate, assets go missing, assets are forgot about.
Right.
So yes, I think that a time limit should be a requirement in the last will and testament.
Have you ever found anyone that had as much difficulty receiving an inheritance as you have?
No, I haven't, actually, other than celebrities on TV. But I have several friends whose parents have passed away, and their estates were settled within just months, 2 or 3 months.
So would you say then that the inclusion of a time constraint is a definite necessity within a will?
Yes, I believe so. And I also believe that when a will is drawn up, a parent or whoever the deceased is, when they're drawing up the will, before they pass away, of course, that they sit down and they talk with their beneficiaries about, who is going to do what, and, if there's certain things that are going to be given to people that, that be known. It just be an open communication process.
Right. Well, even if
rather than a huge secret.
Right. Well, even in the absence of gathering family members together to discuss what's going to be apportioned, it would be nice to have a last will and testament written in language that everyone involved could understand. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the average American could construct their own last will and testament in a way that would be valid in court?
No, I really don't. I think that if a person were going to try to do their last will and testament, they would be better served by maybe going to the internet and getting some legal documents off of, like LegalZoom, a website. But I would still recommend anybody to have an attorney in their state look it over to make sure it's valid and it's clear.
Well, do you think that if there was some type of form that people could fill out by themselves and were able to accurately list the physical description, like the ones found on their deed, their property deed, do you think that if they had all that information in one central location, it would make the discovery process and actually drawing up their own will possible?
Yes, I do. I think it would be very helpful. Not only, for the person who is, put in charge of overseeing the will, and there wouldn't be any disputes between the beneficiaries. So, yes, I think it would expedite the whole process.
Yeah. So would that then be the solution, to have a standardized form where assets could be properly listed so that they could be located, as well as a spot on the form for Social Security and personal information that's necessary to fulfill the duties of an executor or executrix? Do you think having such a thing?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Yes, I do. I think it would be great, because the process right now, a person has to, if you cannot find the actual paper copies of a life insurance policy or record, that a life insurance policy was being paid for, a person would have to just start at the top and work their way down, calling all these life insurance policies to see if one was held by the deceased. And it's really a lot of work, because there's a lot of life insurance policies out there, companies, sorry.
Right, so that would definitely decrease the amount of time. Sorry?
Yes, it would be very helpful.
So then those who had inheritances that were due them could get them much quicker then, obviously. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do.
So if you go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that, a lot of times the executor of the estate or executrix, whichever it is, is overcome with grief naturally, and some people just simply aren't capable of probating a will. And so it would, even if somebody was limited in what they knew how to do, it would certainly aid them.
And so if such a time limit were included, then there would absolutely be an accountability issue for noncompliance, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so that would assure that heirs would get their property before many years pass and appreciation of assets and properties occur.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. And so if such a form were available online, would you download and and make sure that you secured a will for your children?
Yes, I would, especially after having gone through all this difficulty myself. I would not want to see my children have to go through what I have.
I agree. And would you be surprised to learn that some 80% of Americans die without having prepared a will?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. Not as difficult as it seems to be. Because, I mean, most people have to hire an attorney to have it drawn up correctly, and a lot of people just don't have the money for that.
Do you think the legal system then, as far as will and probate goes, do you think the legal system intimidates the average person then?
Yes, I do. I think it intimidates the average person, and also discourages anyone from trying to draw up their own will simply because of the language and the technicality. I think it's almost like a monopoly, like attorneys and courts have a monopoly on estate issues because the average layman isn't able to maneuver their way around it.
Right. I tend to agree with you, and you're an educated woman. You've been to college, and you even found it difficult to understand the legal jargon. So how much more so would someone who wasn't educated, how much more so would they be intimidated, frustrated, and probably die without a will?
Oh, I mean, it's very likely that they would throw their hands up in the air and just say, forget it.
So if such a form were available online, don't you agree that it would definitely empower the people?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Tammy, I'm going to end our call now. I sure do thank you. I certainly thank you for being so gracious to meet with me a second time. I have some footage from our previous interview, and I want to thank you very much for joining me.
Well, you're more than welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I am meeting with Tammy Cody, contester of a last will and testament. I have asked her to meet with me to discuss our topic for College Composition 2, my big idea. And she has agreed to meet by videotape. Is that right, Tammy?
Yes.
Okay. And I have just a few questions for you. What was the difficulty you had in obtaining your inheritance? Can you kind of give us an overview of what was going on?
Well, a few of the difficulties were that the executrix was not in any hurry to execute the will.
You're an educated woman. Were you able to understand the legal document yourself?
No, not really. I had to Google just about every other word because it was very difficult to understand.
Right, and you're educated. Do you think that if the document had been written in common language, that you would have known better how to go about fighting what was yours and getting it in a timely manner?
Well, I don't know that I would have had an easier time going about it, but I would have known what questions to ask